StarCraft, Liberty's Crusade. That one. But I listened to that one. This book is set in the StarCraft universe with three factions are fighting for control. The Terrans, which are us. The Zerg, they're a hive mind alien bugs. The sleek and powerful Protoss. You follow Michael Liberty, who's a UNN reporter, if my memory is correct. I have slept since I've read this, I forget things. I'll read the back of the book in a minute, and then I'll basically go from memory, just talking about what I can remember from the events from the back of the book. Try not to spoil anything, start my words. Something I'm going to point out, and I've just appeared with a book in my hand. In the audio, he's called Michael Liberty, but in the back of the book and on the synopsis on the audio, he's called he's called Danny. Yeah, he's called Danny Liberty, but I'm pretty sure he's called Michael Liberty actually as the narrator's talking it, so I don't know quite what's going on there. So anyway, the back of the book. Far in the future, 60,000 light years from Earth, a loose confederacy of Terran exiles is locked in a battle with an enigmatic Protoss and the ruthless Zerg swarm. Each species struggled to ensure its own survival among the stars in a war that will herald the beginnings of mankind's greatest chapter, or foretell its violent, bloody end. Sounds amazing. Absolutely love it. Blood, guts, gore, stories. Yeah. Danny Liberty, but Michael Liberty, I'm sure, I might be going crazy. Michael Liberty was a good reporter. Too good. When his investigation struck too close to the heart of the corrupt Terran Confederacy, he faced a simple choice. Continue his current series of exposures, or take a hazardous new assignment covering the Marines on the first line of the Cthulhu sector. It didn't take him long to decide. Well, you know, you're either going to die, got to go. Behind the attacks of the Zerg and the Protoss lie the stories of a lifetime. But every piece of information blurs the mystery further. Thrown into the middle of a war where the outcome will determine mankind's very survival, the only thing Danny, Michael Liberty, knows for sure is that the only person he can trust to keep him alive is himself. That's not true. He has to rely on some other people, nevertheless. So that is, the back of the book. But to be honest, that doesn't really tell you anything about the story. It's vague as fuck. I'm going to try and do a better version, but not spoil anything. That's my plan. Something I want to point out is the narrator, name's up there, can't remember off the top of my head. He did absolutely amazing, such a good job with the established characters' already voices and accents and how they deepen the gruffness or the Southern American accents which are in it quite prominently. Jim Raynor's voice, solid. Minx, Arcturus Minx, when he started talking the first time, he come with that gruff voice and I was like, oh mate, that's just like the game. Really did an outstanding job. The guy, that side, the guy's name will be there, yeah. Brilliant, top form, really enjoyed it. Tell you a bit about the story without spoiling the story. Cancer stick smoking Michael Liberty, that's what he actually calls him. Right at the beginning, that's how it starts. He's taking the smoke or whatever and he's called it cancer stick. He got under the skin. He did a report about construction stuff and he basically got under the skin of some very important people who are either linked to the old families who come when the first prison ships come to the Cthulhu sector from Earth. And basically, he pissed some people off and that's kind of why he had to go. And the guy who is his chief editor, he's the one who gave him the ultimatum of like, look, I need you to go, don't want you to die. Quite costly if you die, you know what I mean, clean up blood and all that stuff. That's what they said. I loved it. It was really dry, rough humour between them, and like, it was brilliant. Like their little conversation. I do like the way he describes the guy's a fat. Like you can hear it in his voice. Sounds like a fat man, really, and it was brilliant. But he wanted to save his life because he is good at his job, and he does make him money. So in a very slimy, gritty, dirty way. Not a dirty way, but it's very like underhand, a lot of political stuff goes on and he's got dirt on people apparently, so like Michael, just go over there somewhere, you know what I mean, and we'll give it a few weeks, let it sort of slide, you know. And just like that, Michael Liberty now is a part of the StarCraft universe and he then walks the path that we've played on the game. Very early on you meet Edmund Duke, I think he was a colonel at the time. He has some very interesting back and forwards with Michael. Michael doesn't particularly like him. He describes him as one of the big gorillas from old Earth who who used to climb up the buildings and fight the planes. Honestly, they're taking a mick out. You don't need to take this. But yeah, it was funny just like, yeah, he's a big silverback gorilla that climbs up the buildings and attacks planes. Like, it just, yeah. Because he just when you see him at the desk, visualise him in the desk when he's talking about it, he's like hunched over his table, like, I think he's kind of like this, or I don't know how he was. But he's hunched over the table, yabbering, talking, very thick southern accent. He's a flabby man. There he is, he's up there. I'll put the pictures of the characters, if I talk about them, up here. I like Duke from the first and second game. This story really added more depth to Duke's character. So in the game, without going into details, he was Mink's underling at a later date, which you find out in the book. He was on the Confederate side. He fell out of favour with people we don't know, but it's hinted that he fell out of favour and he should be a general, but he's not a general, so something's happened, blah, blah, political stuff. And this story definitely adds so much more to that character, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was lovely listening to it, just like all these characters pop back into your head, and it's just like, I can see them, it's brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant. We've got Minx, who's back. Arcturus Minx, sorry. He's back. This is when he's one of the rebels from Sons of Korhal. Kerrigan, which I'll talk about her character because she's the only one that I find that this book didn't do her justice. Arcturus, brilliant. And when his character first is introduced in the book, the narrator did such a great voice. I was listening to it, and then like as Edmund's voice, brilliant, straight on it. And then when Arcturus come in, because he's got a very booming, he's a very empowering person. And in this book, he's done a very good job of the narrator, the writer, author. There, that's the author. I'm so bad, terrible. They did a very good job, the author and the narrator, of really bringing that character to life and showing what we've already seen, but just making them, or him, especially Minx, such a bigger, imposing person, I feel. But I've got love for this game. And, I can't know if I just said it or not, Jimmy Boy Rayner's back. Got to love a bit of Jimmy, innit? Rayner is such a good character. I kind of prefer Rayner from the first game compared to the second game. Whatever. His voice as well, spot on. And obviously Michael is your main point of view, and that's it. So now we're on the way, we're following the story of the game. And it's just basically this book, of the first campaign of the Terrans that you play, it's all from Michael Liberty's perspective. So he's not actually in the campaign of the game when you play the game, but he's in the background of the books, and he is involved and he's listening and stuff like that. So they've done a really good job of adding him to the story, even though he's not in the original story. If you played the first game, this book's like a rehashing, as I kind of said. If you've never played the game, you can read this book and get into it. You have to use your imagination. And if you're into freeway wars where the humans, the humans smash the aliens, they do. The Zerg and the Protoss. Now, the Zerg and the Protoss destroy each other, smash the humans. There's the Terran. Even though humans are called Terran. They smash them, they fight them, they really do a good job of fighting them. They make out that the humans just get, or the Terrans get absolutely obliterated. But they don't. I've played the games, I've read the books. The humans hold their own. They do a very good job considering what they've got. Yes, lots of them die, millions, billions. They get infected, their planets get burnt to lava, and they lose multiple planets with lots of millions of people. It's horrendous. But they fight really well, and they do give it a good go. The Zerg turn up, infest people, kill people. Brilliant. The Protoss turn up, follow the Zerg, kill the humans. The Terrans then start fighting the Protoss. It's great. If you just like uncontrolled fighting for the sake of fighting and people making bad decisions because their egos and they want power without a lot of common sense, it's a brilliant series, a brilliant book to read and get into. The Zerg just infest their way through the Capula Scepter? I can't pronounce it properly. And they do go on a complete rampage. But it feels like the humans do have the Terrans have a chance. Or it's because I know how it ends, so I know they've got a chance, if you know what I mean. I don't know. And wouldn't be good humans if the Terrans didn't fight each other, which happens. You've got multiple rebel groups fighting the Confederacy. The Confederacy have a hard time, and then the Sons of Korhal, which is by Arcturus Minx, they gain more power. You've got Rayna's Riders in StarCraft 1 in this book. That's what they're called. In StarCraft 2, they call it, he's called Rayna's Raiders. Now, I don't know if that's a cock-up with the writing or the narrator, or it is different from StarCraft 1, Brood War, to then StarCraft 2. I don't know about that. Small detail, I know, doesn't affect the story, just me just noticing things. As I said, the Protoss just follow the Zerg around fighting. I can't really go into so much detail about what happens because it will spoil the game and it will spoil the book. But basically, humans make bad decisions. They get a few devices which can lure the Zerg into places, use them as a weapon of mass destruction, planet scale. They do talk about what each group have as their big weapons or whatever, and the Terrans do get their hand on these psi emitters, or crate psi emitters, I don't know quite, I can't remember. And they basically, fuck it up for themselves and fuck it up for everyone else. It's brilliant, to be honest. There is good action. I always want more action. I love action. I love a big book full of action. I do like mysteries. I love backstabbing and all of that stuff. And this has got a little bit of mystery, a little bit of action, a little bit of political stuff. It's got a little bit of everything. I enjoyed Michael as a POV. He was very good. I was amused. I smiled. I laughed. I was a bit like, oh, come on, mate. I know what happens with him because I've read another book and I've seen some stuff where he was mentioned in and stuff like that. So I've got an idea of what happens. But it wasn't bad. It was good. I really enjoyed him as a person, to be in his head and seeing the StarCraft world from his perspective and how stuff happened again in the game story to what he said and how he added more to it. This book added so much more depth to all the characters. But Kerrigan, Sarah Kerrigan, she seemed off. She didn't seem like the Sarah Kerrigan in my head from what I remember. But I think the problem is when you meet Kerrigan in the games, the story in the game, you only see her not loads, but just little bits. There's only obviously audio snippets. Something happens to her and she's not in it the same way she is like the other characters. Where the other characters, their stories continue for a long time. So you really learn them and understand them more, and you get a good picture of what they're like. Kerrigan changes and she's kind of a different person, and you see that other person so much more when you see this Sarah Kerrigan. She just seems not the Kerrigan that I know, but it is because she's a different Kerrigan, but I can't remember is the same person in the game. So she just seems really off to me in this. Not that she's a bad character, just she's very good, very enjoyable what she does and stuff like that. But it's just, yeah, I don't know, something's off with her for me, but that's just me. So yeah, that's kind of that. I mean, can't go into more detail, don't want to spoil it. It's good. If you love StarCraft, read it. It's an old book. It's been out for years and years. God, I don't even know. Let's have a look. When did this come out? I think it was 2001, this book did. That's all I got, really. Thank you for watching. I actually want to play the game now to get into the story some more. That'll do. First one. God, it feels really strange doing this. Really strange. I say nice a lot, don't I? Love an old dirty book. As it goes, it's the first universe I actually found. Oh no. StarCraft is definitely like, no. Gotta go and fight it, not fight. Blurs, the mysteries. Future. But I listened to it, I dropped a book, and I loved it. As it goes, it's the first universe that I actually found and fell in love with when I was much, much younger. Many moons ago. Many moons. I'm gonna cut that out. I'm drunk. I'm not drunk. I ain't done this for a long time. It's been a good few years, a bit nervous. As a game goes, God, emotionful over a game. Emotionless, emotion, something. I ain't done this for ages, it's so odd. If you played the game or know the stories, please drop me a comment. I love StarCraft. I'm happy to chat about StarCraft. If you want me to read any other StarCraft books, let me know and I possibly might do it. I first saw this game being played by one of my friend's mums. She was an avid gamer. I think I was about 7 years old, or give or take, and the mission that I first saw her playing in the campaign, actually, when that book finishes, that's when the game actually takes part. So it's kind of, yeah, that's quite funny really, for me anyway. What the fuck was that? Oh, it's a fucking chicken. I heard a chicken. You might be able to hear the chicken, probably not, but I heard a chicken and I thought it was a person outside going, "Ugh."